Welcome back to the newest and greatest Tusk Tradition episode. Big one this weekend that I don't think enough people are talking about. Alabama, Oklahoma. A get-back game, revenge game, whatever you want to call it. Because if you remember last year around this time, they effectively ended our season with that embarrassing away loss in Norman, Oklahoma. So that adds an extra layer to this weekend. This is a game that not only, again, we need to win to keep going where we want to go. If you win this Saturday, guaranteed, no matter what happens in Jordan-Hare, you're going to go to the SEC Championship game. So a win this weekend would be big, not only just to stay where we're at in the college football playoff rankings, but to guarantee a spot in Atlanta in the SEC Championship game. And for them on the other side, they're fighting for their season. There hasn't been a 3-loss team in yet, and I don't know if Oklahoma will be the team to do it. So they're fighting for, to stay in the playoff relevancy for this year. So a big matchup. Both teams are playing for something. If we're going to argue who's playing for more, Oklahoma's playing for a little more for their season's life of postseason. But Alabama has a chance to go ahead and clinch their spot. So as we get into the game, there's many different levels of what I've heard about Oklahoma's advantage to what Alabama can do to kind of neutralize Oklahoma's advantage. Some of those points have a little bit of deeper meaning that actually hold a little bit of weight, and some things I heard, and I'm like, well, that doesn't even seem to matter. One of those doesn't seem to matter moments is when people try to point at Oklahoma's defense stopping the run and how big of a deal that's going to be versus Alabama. We haven't been able to run the football all year. So you telling me Oklahoma can stop it is not really scaring me because we can't run it ourselves. It doesn't matter about that. So when I saw a lot of attention put on that, other areas of Oklahoma's defense we'll get into and talk about it. Very true, valid. We're at the scheme. We're going to figure it out. But if we're talking just Oklahoma's run defense versus Alabama's run offense, I'm not concerned with it because we haven't been able to do it. We've done I almost said we've done enough to just get by, but we haven't even done that. We've been below. I think I saw on the whole season right now we have just over 1,000 yards. So not good at all. We'll find a way to. We've been finding ways to win, and as we get later in this video, we're going to find a way to win on Saturday, not using the run game. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the run game take off, and no better weekend. I say it every weekend, but no better weekend. Let's go to get the run game going, and let's start, tuning it up as we go into the rest of the season. But as far as that matchup goes, it doesn't concern me. A matchup that does concern me is Oklahoma's ability to get to the quarterback. I think they're first or second in the getting pressures on the defensive line. So that's concerning because if we look at the one game we've lost this year at Florida State, they were able to get to tie a little bit. Not saying that the offense hasn't matured and grown up and it reached new heights as the season's gone on, but that is an example of where we did struggle and ultimately lost the game. A team was able to do that. So that's a scary advantage they have over us. They've also been pretty good in secondary. It's a really solid defense Oklahoma has. I feel like they've been able to rely on that defense. That's probably won them a few games, get them in a few games. So Oklahoma's defense as a whole is very, very tough, very stout. It's going to be a challenge for Alabama's entire offense. Not just the run game, the entire offense. So that's going to be fun to watch on Saturday. If we go the other way around, I think it's important for Alabama to jump out early. I think as you look back and I think of Georgia, I think of the Tennessee game, Missouri, being able to score early and often, and kind of make the other team chase us because in the second half we've been a little flat. I think that's going to be really important this weekend with Oklahoma because this offense is not super explosive. It's not built to overcome a 10-point second half deficit. So important to score often, maintain the lead, and ultimately have the lead when the game ends. So that's gonna be important on the offensive side versus their defense. Their quarterback has been really good. He, if you look at the history, even going to Nick Saban's time at Alabama, what kind of quarterback beats Alabama? It's a mobile quarterback. It's a quarterback who can make plays on the run, really well on his feet. John Maturi kind of matches that. He can do that. So another point of advantage. We talk about all these things where if you're going to lose, if you're Alabama, if you're going to beat Alabama, if you're the other team, there's certain things that all teams seem to have. You look at the South Carolina game. I was worried about it because It's a road game, a hard environment, and a mobile quarterback. That's a big one. So, you start to look down that checklist, what they can do versus what we can do, and it kind of, starts to swing a little bit that way. Now, I just think what I mentioned about their offense not being enough firepower, that's kind of what's going to be their undoing. I think Alabama's going to be able to get a lead. I think our defense is going to be able to do just enough. You look at the LSU game. That game wasn't a complete full Alabama game. We didn't play a full game as in terms of, efficiency, effort level, all that. I think it could be similar to that. I just think Alabama is going to be better in the clutch and the time that matters. When Alabama needs to make a play on defense, I believe in our defense more to make a crucial stop, get the ball on the ground or get the ball in the air away from Oklahoma's offense than them being able to drive down the field and score. So that's just important things to watch. I kind of mentioned it just there at the LSU game. We're still waiting on Alabama to play a full, complete game. I don't think we've seen it. Even look at our, big time wins at Georgia. Did we really play a full game? We didn't score in the second half. Our defense played great. Defense played a full game. Then we might have coached a full game. We might have had special teams play great the full game. But have we all, levels of the game, all facets, offense, defense, coaching, special teams, whatever, fans, whatever you want to call it, have they all, for the full 4 quarters, put a full game together? I don't think we've seen it. So, this weekend, let's have it. Let's do it. Let's make this weekend the first time this whole season we've had a full 4-quarter game, and I think we can really put a beating on Oklahoma if that's the case. If we can play, our best game at all 4 levels and all 4 quarters, it's going to be a long day for Oklahoma. So yeah, look for that. I think I saw it's a 5.5 spread right now. I got Bama covering that. I do think it's going to be a close game. I think this is a good Oklahoma team, not getting nearly enough credit. So don't get me wrong, good Oklahoma team. I think it's going to be a game. We're going to have to go win this one. But I like Alabama 24-17. I like us, to cover that 5.5 spread and be able to get the victory ultimately. I think just in the end, like I mentioned, I like Alabama's defense to make a stop more than I like Oklahoma's chances to go score. So that's this game this Saturday. It's going to be a big one, super exciting. It's on ABC, and as of right now, YouTube TV and Disney and ESPN, whatever, have not agreed. So if you're a YouTube TV fan, you got to find a way to watch the game this weekend. I think this is week 3 now. Funny enough, it hasn't really impacted me because I think when it started, Alabama had a bye, and then I went to the game with LSU. And so this will be the first weekend where I'm kind of like, well, how am I going to watch this game? So we're going to watch the game. Don't worry about that. We're just going to have to figure it out. Also work tomorrow, so a bunch of layers to this. But we're going to figure it out, and it'll be a good Roll Tide Saturday. Before I end the video, I've been trying to talk about it a little bit more, but Alabama basketball. I want to try to get into that a little bit more as the season progresses and as football season comes to a close here, and hopefully in January, I'll get into that basketball season. But, we had played a big-time game at home last night on Thursday against Purdue, and it didn't go Alabama's way, particularly on the glass. I mean, they out-rebounded us. Wasn't even close. And when it came down to crunch time, their point guard made plays and he took the game over. So a tough loss. It's a good measuring stick right now to see where we're at. Long season. We're going to get better. That's why you play these games. I can't remember in Avery Johnson or Anthony Grant era where we were playing these big-time non-conference matchups. So I love it. Love that Natos does it. We got more coming. We got a lot more. We got to play Gonzaga. I'm sure Creighton's on there, if I'm wrong. But one of those, some big-time ranked matchups are still on our schedule, so more chances to get better, improve ourselves. But, yeah, tough one last night. I think we shot the ball well. Aiden Holloway played fantastic. It's now back-to-back games. We've seen him score 20-plus, taking big steps from where he was last year. Phylon did his thing. I think where we struggled is kind of what I mentioned on the glass. It might just be, Alabama likes to call it, the blue-collar points. So who's going to be the guy who's going to step up and be able to get those? I think Alabama's always seemed to find a guy throughout the season. Like I said, this is game 3. So it's really early in the season. We'll be able to get this team. This team is one of those I wouldn't say young team, but a team that hasn't played together, kind of how all of college basketball is now with people one and done or going to the next level. So as the season goes on, they'll become more comfortable. 80 points. It's not a lot for Alabama. It sounds like a lot for other teams, but not a lot for us. So, yeah, the final was 88-80. A lot of free throw, points in garbage time there. But they'll rebound going into the next few games. Just look to see what I did there, rebound. Look to see if we can rebound a little bit better because that was kind of the biggest difference in the game last night. It'll be fun. I'll get it more into basketball as football kind of comes to a close and the games are farther spread out in the postseason. But that's kind of just a little snippet of what's been going on in that early basketball season. But, that's it. Oklahoma, Alabama this weekend. Hoping for a big-time Alabama win, and we'll cover the game and break it down early next week. So appreciate you watching, and Roll Tide this weekend.